ProBuild and Ashton Woods Homes are proud to welcome you to our series on window installation. Today we will install a wood double-hung window. Now sit back and relax as John Homer guides you through the steps involved in installing this window. You start the installation by cutting the house wrap as shown in the diagram. This is very important to make sure that we have a watertight installation.
And then here, we're going to demonstrate now how to install a wood window correctly. We're going to start with I've already pre-cut the house wrap, as you can see. We're going to, first thing to do is you're going to make sure this sill is level. If it's not level, then you're going to make sure you're going to shim the window either way, according to which side you need, up or down. Next thing you want to do is dry fit the window. You don't want to set everything up and not have the framing correctly, so you want to dry fit the window, make sure it fits. We've already done that, so we're going to move to the next step. Next step is to put a sloped sill on the windowsill. This is a 8-inch cedar siding product, and as you can see, it's tapered about 5/8 of an inch to maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8. But what we want to do is we want to split this down the center, rip it down the center. We want to take the smaller end. You got a large end here, a smaller end here. We're going to use the smaller end and place the smaller end to the back side. So when you put this on the sill, it's going to slope away. Any water that would happen to get on that sill is going to slope away from the window and leave the house. Just want to take a trim gun and just tack this in like so. So that gives you a nice sloped sill on that windowsill. Brick vinyl flashing. Comes in 16-inch width rolls. I've cut a piece here just to show you, but here we've laid one out on the bottom of this window. So you're going to cut it. What you want to do is you pretty much use a staple gun and you'll tack the outside edge. You want to stay away from any area under the window right here. You want to bring it up at least 4 inches up the sill on the sides. Tack the tops, lay it out. So later the brick guys are going to use this. And the reason we're not nailing here is because they're going to need to bring this up for the brick. Once this is set, we're going to use these plastic corners here. What you're going to do is you place these in the corners like so. Make sure this is tight in here, and you're going to tack it. Just staple it on the top here. You don't want to staple on the bottom or the face. Just place a couple staples on the top here. Again, on the other side as well. Same here. This way water will not penetrate this corner if these are set properly.
The slope sill that John spoke of earlier takes the place of the sill pan, which is shown in this diagram. The slope sill is very important in making sure that the water drains to the exterior of the home.
Sill flashing in place. We're going to take the 4-inch Fortiflash and we're going to run it down the sides first. I've pre-cut this. I'm going to peel the top, put the top first. You want to run it up past your opening, peel the back off, and slide it down. You want it to run along the inside edge here, as tight as you can get it. You want to make sure your Fortiflashing's running down past at least 4 inches minimum, past your sill. Like that. Do the other side. I like to just butt it up to the bottom of my cut there on the house wrap. And again, run it as close to that edge as you can get it.
Now that the flashing is in place, the opening is ready to accept the window.
There's your legs. You want to take a top piece. You want to make sure this top piece is going to run past your legs, like that, roughly an inch or so. That's not easy. You'll see that. There you have your headpiece.
Before installing the window, you must apply a 3/8 inch bead of caulk to the top and both sides of the window. The applied molding will create a waterproof seal with the flashing when properly caulked. Do not apply any caulk to the bottom of the window frame. We don't want to trap any water or condensation that may get through to the sloped sill. Now set the window with the sash in the closed and locked position, centered in the rough opening. With the window in the rough opening, temporarily tack it into place so that you can begin to true it up. You may need to shim the window jambs either up or down, and you may need to shim the jambs from side to side to make sure that it's perfectly square in the opening. This will make sure that the window operates correctly after it's fully installed. What we're going to do now is we're going to make sure that this window is perfectly square and centered in the hole. It needs to be in the location where it's designed so that the exterior facade will work properly and so that the interior trim works properly. The shims that we use right now are only for the purpose of keeping the window square. We're going to come back a little bit later and we're going to use some additional shims to make sure that the operation is smooth and tight. Now we're ready to secure the window to the framing. This will be the permanent attachment. There's a special bit and special screws that we use, and you will receive a diagram that shows how many screws to put in each side and the top and the bottom of the window. Once you have installed these screws and countersunk them properly, you will have a small plug, and what this plug will do is cover up the hole so you have a nice clean finish. You won't even be able to tell that these screws have been installed. Always refer to the installation instructions to determine how many screws are needed. Lightly tap each plug into place, being careful not to damage the brick mold or the trim that it's attached to. We don't want ugly hammer marks on the trim. Now that the window is fully secured and fastened into the opening, we're going to go back on the inside and we're going to start shimming the sides, and we're going to shim both sides, and we're going to make sure that the window operates perfectly. This is a critical part of the window installation. If the window is too tight, then the sashes won't open and close properly, and if the window isn't tight enough, then the sashes will have a tendency to fall down, especially the top sash, when you unlock the locks. So you want to take your time here, and you want to make sure that each part of the window operates smoothly and easily. Remember, this window is going to receive several coats of paint, so it's going to thicken up a little bit. So right now, when you adjust it, you want to adjust it so it operates very, very smoothly. As you install the shims and you get them where you're satisfied that the window is operating properly, one nail to hold the shims in place is all you need. And then you want to make sure that you trim the excess off when you get finished so that they don't inadvertently get knocked out or jammed into the side of the window. To complete the installation, start with a piece of metal Z flashing approximately 1 inch longer than the window itself. This is all including the trim. Cut slits into the side of the flashing about a ½ inch on each side so you can create tabs that can be bent down once the window flashing is in place, as shown here. The window flashing then needs to be attached, and you can use either tape or nails to attach the window flashing to the side of the house. I think that tape is preferable because it's one less hole that you have to deal with. Be careful when you do this that you don't push the flashing down too tightly against the window frame, because you want to make sure that any water that collects on top will drain away and not sit on the flashing in a pocket. Now you're going to drop the weatherproof barrier over the top of the flashing, and as you can see, it's a little bit longer than it needs to be. So we're going to trim that excess length off of there, and that keeps this from flapping in the breeze after we have taped down the two sides. And you'll see shortly we're going to use some tape that was specially designed for the house wrap, and we're going to install this tape on the cuts on both sides of the window. You could use flashing here if you wanted to, but the tape is just as durable and just as effective. As soon as John finishes taping the two corners on this particular window, we'll be ready and all dried in for the next rainstorm that we can see coming out over the horizon. You can be sure this window won't leak. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. Please install the windows as we have shown you.